Today on Marvel Movie News, do we have our Kate Bishop? Does this mean Young Avengers is coming? Even if it doesn't, we're going to tell you who we want to see in Young Avengers. Plus, an Inhumans reboot? Does anybody want that except me? All of our childhoods are coming to Disney Plus, and we play a fun little game of Sophie's Choice. If you were trapped on a desert island and could only have one MCU movie to watch for the rest of your life, what would it be? Yes, Marvel Movie News starts now.
Welcome to Popcorn Talk, featuring movie discussion, news, and interviews. Popcorn Talk, we talk movies. And now, here's Popcorn Talk's Marvel Movie News.
Yes, good afternoon, our very merry Marvelites. I'm Christian Blatt, joined by the lovely and talented Zia Anderson.
Hi, that's me.
And we are here.
Applause.
Zach Wilson on assignment, deep undercover. Is he behind Hydra enemy lines? We can't reveal that because if we did, they'd look for him and he'd be found out. So let's just say he's not here. I don't know where he is. You'll have to find out. Anyway, thanks so much to everyone who is feverishly waiting for this episode in the live chat. And also, as always, we have to thank our friend Colt Badeau, who is tweeting from the Starjammer. He was kind enough to tweet something out yesterday, which we'll talk about a little later in the show. We've gotten some great feedback on that. But let's start off with news that's, sort of news. The Hailee Steinfeld as Kate Bishop. It's not really, they haven't cast her. They've offered it to her. She could say no.
That would be crazy.
Right?
But she could.
Look, she said yes to Bumblebee.
I know.
So,
by the way, I love that movie.
I actually that's the Transformers movie I've always wanted.
It was great.
It was more
so
fun than
good.
any of the other live action Transformer movies. So I want her to bring that kind of fun to the Disney Plus Hawkeye series.
Yeah.
So I'm excited about the idea, and quiet news week. We're gonna run with it for sure. It's just been offered to her. But look, Variety reported it. So a lot of times I like to stay away from the rumors that are things like Phase 5 is gonna have the Avengers versus the X-Men. I'd be like, that'd be awesome. But let me hear it from somebody who knows what they're talking about.
Yeah.
I would pay so much money. They could charge $100 a ticket and I would go see Avengers versus X-Men.
Yes.
I don't even care who's on the team.
Absolutely.
But let me just know that it's really happening. But this Kate Bishop story seems to be at least somewhat reality-based. Zia, your thoughts on Hailee Steinfeld as Kate Bishop?
I think it's great. I really liked her in Bumblebee. I haven't seen her in anything else. I know that people.
She was good in True Grit. She was very young at that point.
I didn't see that. But I know that she's like a big up and comer, and people really like her, and I completely understand why. I think that she would bring. She played such. Without meaning to, or maybe with meaning to, she played kind of a badass in Bumblebee. I think that she could bring a lot to that character as Kate Bishop. So I think it's a great idea. I think that having her and Jeremy Renner together would be fantastic.
Yeah.
So I like this casting.
Look, the involvement of Jeremy Renner has been confirmed for the Hawkeye show.
Yes, he
and
has.
Now that he's not busy with his app anymore and he has the time to do the Hawkeye
app.
I know, I feel bad
Trolls
for him.
ruin everything.
Love that guy. I love Jeremy Renner.
He's
so great in everything, right? But anyway, so he's going to be on the Hawkeye show. And I think whomever Kate Bishop is going to be, we're hoping it's Hailee Steinfeld at this moment. I think that's the way to do it. Like, yeah, you're going to learn from old Hawkeye how to become the new Hawkeye. So very excited about that. Let us know in the chat. Do we have any naysayers? People who are like, yeah, she's okay, but it should really be...
No, I mean, not yet. Maybe now that you've said that.
Now that I've put that in people's head, yeah.
So far, everybody has been saying that they like it. Gamer Girl says she hasn't seen her in anything at all, and she says, yes, I know I need to fix that. So she wants to watch
First of all,
her.
good for you for not seeing Pitch Perfect. Good for you, Gamer Girl.
Was she in Pitch Perfect?
Well, I only know that because I was reading about her, yeah.
Oh.
And she's got some degree of a singing career because of Pitch Perfect.
Look at her.
So, she could do the theme from Hawkeye. I don't know. So that is kind of the news, and it was...
Senor Nerd says, I'm sorry to interrupt.
No,
she just
please.
Says, she was everyone's favorite for Kitty Pryde, but Kate Bishop, okay, I'm down with it.
Yeah, look, she would be a great Kitty Pryde.
Great Kitty Pryde.
I think that's great casting. And for some reason, she's not Kate Bishop, then put her right back on top of the Kitty Pryde list.
Yeah, absolutely.
Here's the thing. We need to cast somebody as Kitty Pryde when it's time. But anyway, what were you going to say?
There's one more. King Sport Cow. Sorry, that was one word, and it was
like King's Portal.
It kind of does, right?
But that sounds dirty, so I'm glad it wasn't that. Yeah.
Chloe Moretz should play Kate Bishop.
Chloe Grace Moretz, I assume you mean Hit Girl from the Kick-Ass movies, and she was also in the reboot of Carrie. She's great.
She is good.
Oh yeah.
I think, and look, she's been in action superhero roles in the Kick-Ass movies, but I don't know. I think I think it's a good. Look, either one of those is a great choice. But I don't know is she part of a franchise right now, Ryan? I mean, is there something
she is my Hollywood crush first and foremost.
Oh,
okay. I think she's age appropriate for you.
Yes, she's actually a month older than me.
Okay, so there you go. See,
it's okay for Ryan.
No, if I said that, they would have to kick the doors in and drag me away. Like I can't say that.
The franchises. I mean, Kick-Ass had 1 and 2.
Yeah, I don't think that there's going to be a 3.
Right. No plans on 3.
Yeah. Not after Jim Carrey trashed it in every interview he did. That didn't help, by the way.
And she also had the Neighbors movies, which I think.
Oh yeah,
again,
she was good in those.
Again, I don't think.
I don't think part 3's coming.
Yeah, that's not happening.
All
so right. I think she's kind of franchise free right now.
Great.
Look, she would be a great choice as well.
But Langley M. Neely does not see that. He says Moretz is Kate Bishop. I don't see that.
I don't know. Here's the thing is when she was Hit Girl, she was much younger. So now she plays like kind of different roles. I think having seen Hailee Steinfeld just most recently in Bumblebee, I don't have trouble seeing it. I feel like I'm like, yeah, because look, she's not going to come in and be Hawkeye right away. She's going to be trained in the ways of Hawkeye, So I think that whomever it is, they're going to build the story in kind of a great way where we're going to get to see them learn how they do it. Sort of a little bit of a footnote, but they did also announce that the Disney Plus Hawkeye show will have a showrunner named Jonathan Igla, who was a writer on Mad Men and Fox's short-lived show Pitch, which was about a female pitcher in Major League Baseball. So perhaps you didn't catch that one. But,
is that a surprise?
But here's the thing. When you look at who's running these Disney Plus shows, it is people who they have credits, but they're not like somebody who's already run a show before,
Right.
And it's kind of the way that Disney/Marvel picks their directors, at least at this point, and
it's been working out for them mostly.
Sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't, I mean, Lord and Miller had directed plenty of things, but they weren't the right choice for Solo, at least not in Disney's mind, So you have a few of those, but I think when you're running these kind of writers' rooms, especially for these, as far as we know, these Disney Plus series are going to be limited series. We don't necessarily expect multiple seasons of all of them. I would say that Kate Bishop Hawkeye is the one that lends itself the most to being multiple seasons because you're not asking like Tom Hiddleston to come back. You're not asking Paul Bettany and Elizabeth Olsen to come back. You're not asking Falcon and Winter Soldier. You're not getting Sebastian Stan and Anthony Mackie. You're not asking all those. And I'm not saying that Hailee Steinfeld isn't a big name. She's not as established as some of those names, but also she's one cast member.
Right.
So you would think Jeremy Renner wouldn't be back. He would just kind of show her the ropes and then he would be gone. It's like the one episode of Young Indiana Jones that had Harrison Ford in it. It was just one. This is all you needed. Because it wasn't called Old Indiana Jones. It was called Young Indiana Jones. And this is called Hawkeye, but she's going to become Hawkeye. And I don't know if you showed the pictures from the comics, Ryan, but that series that Kate Bishop is Hawkeye, it's just called Hawkeye. It's not called Hawkeye parentheses this time she's a girl. It's that's a great shot of her because she's got the purple on like Hawkeye, but really cool sunglasses.
I like the cutouts in her clothes.
Right. I think it's a little bit more functional.
Right. It gives a little more freedom of movement and some breeze in there. Those like where they're putting, and I understand why they're doing it because they don't want women to be objectified or whatever, but where they put those women like poor Scarlett Johansson.
Yeah.
I always do this, and in my head, Scarlett Johansson, and then I think
Scarlet Witch Hansen. Yeah, I get it. Yeah, totally.
But that she has to wear that full it looks so hot and uncomfortable. And how do you move in that?
My understanding too is that at least in some of the films, Scarlett Johansson, they would like sew her into it for when they were filming,
crazy.
And then they would cut it so that she could like take it off at the end of the day.
That's
I don't know how she went to the bathroom. No, I don't. I don't have any answers on that. But yeah, no, it's definitely awful, and I think that. look, there's a lot of reasons why we don't see comic book accurate costumes in these movies.
Well,
some of them work and some of them don't.
Yeah.
You know, so I think when it works, it's great that we get to see it. You know, I never needed to see Danny Rand in the yellow slippers. I never needed that.
You didn't want the yellow slippers?
No, but I wanted him to have the cowl like over his head. Anyway. So, if there's an ooh in the chat, you need to share it.
There's just now everybody's casting all kinds of other characters. So we have.
Are they casting Young Avengers?
No, but we will get to that.
We will get to that.
Senior Nerd said the girl who's Sabrina in Chilling Adventures of Sabrina on Netflix is my pick for Spider-Gwen. So now they're like picking all kinds of other stuff.
Well, that's the other thing about Hailee Steinfeld is that she was Spider-Gwen into the Spider-Verse. She was the voice of Spider-Gwen. Yeah. So. I don't know. I mean, look, these are all great. These are all great possible roles for any of these people. Anything else in the chat before we move on to us trying to cast some people?
No, I think there's some other stuff like up here, more people trying to cast. I mean, more casting, but. This one. That's what I wanted to say. I remember. Langley M. Neely says, I love that these are not multiple seasons. I agree. I kind of like that they're just going to be like one standalone season. And
I think that
for now,
if they approach it sort of like in the way where after a couple years, they're like, you know what, let's do another season of Hawkeye, you know, another 6 episodes or whatever. I think that definitely works, you know? So, but yeah, I think that they can go all in on one really good season.
Yeah.
Because how many shows have you seen that has a great first season, and then it comes back for the second, and you're like, wait, what happened? Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Not Marvel shows. That doesn't happen. Well, you know, a little bit it happens sometimes, but sometimes. Anyway, so what we were wondering is if this was going to mean that, you know, you have Hailee Steinfeld, you have a big actress, or, you know, Chloe Grace Moretz is somebody you're talking about. That's a big name. Mm-hmm. And when you're talking about Sabrina, you're talking about Kiernan Shipka, also from Mad Men. That's, you know, so there's these names that are being thrown around. But if you're thinking Hailee Steinfeld, you're thinking like, all right, look, she's an Academy Award nominated actress for True Grit. So there's a certain caliber they're going for. So we thought it would be fun if Zia and I tried to cast a Young Avengers movie, because I think that this would be a great way to introduce the Young Avengers. Don't you agree, Zia?
Yeah, of course. I think that, I mean, that's the perfect way to introduce them. And I have to feel like before we jump into Young Avengers, I have to preface mine by saying that my Avengers aren't necessarily Young Avengers. They're kind of old Young Avengers.
The way that I look at this, they're young enough Avengers.
That's
because,
good, yeah.
You know, in all honesty, they would probably have a mix of like a couple of established younger actors, but it would be mostly unknowns probably.
Yeah.
But a lot of like the young actors who might be the most age appropriate aren't necessarily on shows that I watch. So maybe some of you who watch a lot of shows on the CW, you probably would you just have a different list than I do. That's all I'm saying.
I'm just not familiar with any young actors. So I was looking it up and I was thinking about stuff, and I realized that everybody that I would cast, the youngest person that I would cast is 27. Everybody else is all in their early 30s.
Yeah. Well,
they look young.
Yeah. No, they do.
They look really young.
And that's the key. I mean, look.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, when we've got a reboot of Beverly Hills 90210 on, when that show started, all those actors were like in their 30s. It's the way it goes.
Yeah.
You know? It's fine. So somebody's in their 20s, they're going to play that they're in their early 20s. It's fine.
It's
you
fine.
know,
Thank you.
Let's just do that.
Yeah.
So this is just fun. It's a fun exercise. A lot of times in the chat, you, as in the people in the chat, you ask us, well, who would we like for this role? Well, we did it this time.
We did it.
We actually went and found some actors.
Put some thought into
Zia, do you
this.
have your list in front of you?
I have my
because I'm
list
going
in
to
front of
ask
me.
you to refer to it. Let's start with the character Hulkling. Which that kind of implies a character very similar to the Hulk.
But
now,
kind of, but not.
Right,
like,
exactly.
It's interesting because I thought the same thing. I was like, oh, it's going to be a little Hulk, but it's not a little Hulk.
Right. He's just got like those abilities.
Yeah.
He's not like, you know, Jimmy Banner, like his nephew by second marriage.
Jimmy Banner that somehow got hit with gamma rays.
Right, because the gamma rays are going around. You know,
Yeah.
Hey, look, just because Bruce Banner gave a blood transfusion to his cousin and made She-Hulk doesn't mean he didn't stop giving. Maybe he
That's
continues
true.
to give blood.
Maybe
he goes to a blood drive and then there's a bunch of Hulklings running
of little
around.
Hulklings
He's just
everywhere.
not thinking about it, even though he's a scientist.
That'd be great.
So talk about this actor who obviously you would, for those watching on YouTube, you'd have to imagine him green.
Yeah, you'd have to imagine him green, but he does. And the reason I thought of this guy immediately is because as soon as I looked at the comic drawing of the Hulkling, I was like, oh my God. And that guy popped into my head because he looks so much like him. And then I realized his name is William Moseley. I saw him in what I know him from is The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe. And he plays one of the one of the brothers.
Right. So I only saw the first one. So
okay.
But that's the one. That's the first one. Yeah, okay, so I've seen that. Yeah.
But he's in other ones too. He's 32 now, but he looks so young still somehow that like I think it's fine. And I just think that he got to do those movies, and I would like to see him in some other stuff. I think that he would make a good superhero.
Yeah, and so far we're not breaking the bank with any of these actors.
No, and he was a good hero in The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe. He's very regal, like he was the good brother, and I think that's the other one was a little turd.
All right.
But he I think that he would be great for it.
Well, and then let's go down and let's try to cast Miss America, the character also known as America Chavez.
Yes. And for her, I had to choose, and this is also, she immediately jumped into my head, I like it.
Oh, he was waiting for this.
I love it.
Look at you.
That was fun.
I'm glad you got it there, yeah.
Langley M. Neely in the chat says, "Oh, he's really grown," and then in parentheses quotes, "Young Avengers."
Yeah, exactly.
I know,
the young
Avengers.
Hey, the younger than Robert Downey Jr. Avengers. Okay.
Yeah,
that's what we're talking about here.
In his 40s.
Yeah.
But for Miss America, I chose Rosa Salazar. She was Alita Battle Angel. They made her look young as hell in that. She was like a young kid. She was amazing. What? Alita Battle Angel.
Oh, okay. Alita Battle Angel. I did not see that, so that's why it didn't register. I remember that. I remember commercials for that. Then that you say, yeah.
She was really, really good, and she's already done a bunch of action. I know she's been in some other stuff, and I think that she does a great job in action roles, and I would like to see more of that. And she would also bring a real attitude to the
Look,
to the
I
role.
think that's what we're getting to see a lot more of now. Is that you don't have to get wrestlers and UFC people for your superheroes, but you have to have somebody who at least you can cut around and have look convincing. I know I'm on the short list of people that like both seasons of Iron Fist, but that is the thing that people point about is like what if he's supposed to be a master of kung fu, not the master of kung fu, that's Shang-Chi, but he's supposed to be a master of kung fu. It should at least look that way on the screen. So
I get it.
Look, when somebody has shown that they have some kind of action capabilities, they've been in action roles, I think that helps. And go back to Hailee Steinfeld. She's not in like a fight scene or anything, but there's a lot of action that she's a part of in Bumblebee. There's just a lot of, it's a very physical
role. Running and jumping and rolling.
I think that's more convincing than possibly some of the other stuff out there. Let's talk about Prodigy, who is a character that is actually part of the X-Men Xavier Institute, and now in this day and age, doesn't matter. It's fine. You can go ahead and incorporate those into your plans. If this was 6 months ago, we'd be like, well, can't talk about that. That won't be a new Avenger. So talk a little bit about your choice for Prodigy, which we don't have.
Prodigy, I have chosen. We have the picture of the actor at least. So I believe this is how you say his name, Keenan Lonsdale.
Yes.
And for anyone who's a fan of The Flash, you know him from that. He plays Wally West / the Kid Flash, which I personally love. So I think he would be.
Well, he's out. He's a Flash. I think it's fine.
Flash,
I'm just kidding. I think it's fine. I do think that they are conscious of that sort of thing, though.
They are.
I don't think it would entirely rule him out. But it is something that they definitely think about. Obviously, after Ryan Reynolds' triumphant turn as Green Lantern, he still managed to stick around as Deadpool. Honestly, more damaging to Ryan Reynolds' bona fides for being Deadpool is the first time he played Deadpool in X-Men Origins Wolverine. The fact that they still cast him was amazing.
I know, but who else would it be? I think we're all so easy
can't even think about
able
it now.
to overlook that.
So, all right, so that's who we have for Prodigy.
Yes.
And I wanted to talk about a character named Iron Lad. Now, Iron Lad, I have an actor named Douglas Booth, and whether he made it into the folder or not, I don't know. I don't know if I saw him before, but we can bring up a picture of him. They're out there on the internet. So the thing about Iron Lad that is interesting is there's a character in the Marvel comic book universe that you first meet as Kang the Conqueror from the 30th century. But there's a previous version of him that is known as Immortus. And Immortus factors into a really unfortunate storyline with Ms. Marvel and Avengers number 200 that I don't need to talk about now. But it's out there. So, but Iron Lad is an even younger version of him. And that's why I think is the only reason you can get away with calling somebody Lad. Because, like, for, like, the Titans, there's an Aqua Lad. And I'm like, really? Like, Lad? Why not just boy or man? You know, Lad is such a strange term. But this would be a really important character. And so I thought that, you know, this guy made sense. But really, it's a character that you would see in multiple iterations. Because you would see him at some point as Immortus, which is even older than this, and then Kang is sort of like an armored future version, and this guy was in Pride and Prejudice and Zombies. So, you know, there's some physical surroundings.
Why he looks familiar.
Right,
I was trying to figure that out.
That's right up your alley.
Yeah, because that's why I watched it.
Because you don't like Pride, you don't like Prejudice, but you love zombies.
Exactly.
So it's like 1 out of 3.
I watched that movie on a plane, and I enjoyed it because it was there, and I was like, you know what, I'm going to check it out, and I enjoyed watching it. So, okay, cool.
So going on to my casting, I'd say this is the best known person. This would be the most expensive, but this is a really important role, and that would be the role of Kid Loki. And that would be Taron Egerton, who a lot of us, of course, know from the Kingsman movies. He was recently Elton John in Rocketman. But I was trying to think of somebody that has a right screen presence that could be Loki. And you don't want, like, who's Tom Hiddleston Jr.? You know, who's going to play it exactly the same way?
Oh, yeah, no.
And I think he'd be great. What do you think about Taron Egerton playing Kid Loki? Like, as a younger Loki?
I can see it. I haven't seen him in a lot. I saw him in person once and gave him some stickers. And that was at Comic-Con.
Oh, well, that makes a little bit more sense. I'm like, what are you doing giving out stickers?
No, it wasn't at Comic-Con. It was at a restaurant, but during Comic-Con, like outside of it.
Gotcha.
Regardless, I haven't actually seen him in a lot, but just in real life, he has a presence. It's interesting. Like, somebody had to point him out to me and be like, that's so-and-so. And I was like, oh, that makes sense now.
Also, he could duet with Hailee Steinfeld, and, you know, because we know he can sing Elton John songs.
There you go.
So if you want to do the musical number in the middle of Young Avengers, that I think nobody's asking for, but I know that our friend Zach, who's not here, would love. So I'm just keeping that in the back of my mind.
The Thunder God Kiro 770 says these castings aren't that young at all.
Yes,
I know,
that's what we're saying.
We've talked about that. We talked about that in the beginning. And Ivan Soto says 30-year-old young Avengers. Yes, I don't know that many young actors at all, so I knew my list was going. And
I felt really confident picking Taron Egerton for Kid. Air quotes for Kid Loki, because Loki's like thousands of years old.
So there you go.
So Taron Egerton is still a couple hundred years too young for the part, okay?
And Daniel Drew says, I think one of the Stranger Things kids or other teen actors. I did think of some of the kids from Stranger Things.
I did too, but I thought they were too young.
I thought they were too young also.
Those are actually the first kids I thought. You know, and look, we keep trying to get Millie Bobby Brown into the MCU. We've done whole shows about where she
Kitty
would be.
Pryde.
Well, yeah. See, now that idea's in my head, I can't see her as anybody else.
I already have that. We already have that down.
Until somebody else is cast as Kitty Pryde, or I guess she's cast as something else. She's going to stay Kitty Pryde in my head.
Yes.
But let us know in the chat whether you're watching live or you're watching the archive version.
Yeah, give us some younger actors.
Some younger actors.
Tell us who these people are.
But also tell us what role you think they would be good for.
Yes.
You know, don't just spurt out the entire cast of Riverdale. By the way, I think everybody on Riverdale's like in their 30s.
They're all That's the problem.
So that's the problem. Everybody who's a young actor is actually not that young.
I did see one in here. I'm going to try to find it so you can just go ahead and keep going.
I have one more that's my choice, and that's a character named Patriot, and that's Shamik Moore. And I think that it's
him.
So yeah, honestly, it's if you can also Ryan, can you dig up a picture of Patriot? I know I didn't send you that.
Absolutely.
That's on me because I want kind of people to see the character, because look, these are not necessarily the best known MCU, but also the best known Marvel characters. And yes, I know he's not that young. I get it. But I felt like he would be good. And then again, so he's in the Wu-Tang series that's on Hulu right now. he's Shaw in that. And yes, I know he was Miles Morales in Into the Spider-Verse. I get those things. But he should be on screen too. And if Hailee Steinfeld can be Spider-Gwen and also on screen, then why not Shameik Moore?
It's different when it's just a voice versus
and I think
on-screen.
he would be cool as Patriot. I think that it's just sort of the right presence on screen.
Here is one from Xeno Hour. Kelvin Harrison Jr. as Patriot. I don't know who that is.
I don't know who that is, but...
So maybe it's a younger actor?
Yeah.
I don't know if you have...
There's the problem, is that I'm too old to know any younger actors.
That's the problem.
And, you know, Zia's too busy playing video games to see who younger actors are. What was that actor's name? Kelvin Moore Jr.? Kelvin,
Kelvin Harrison Jr.
Oh, yeah, and he's from something called Luce or Luce. I don't know how you pronounce that. I could see him. I don't know this actor, but sure.
Does he look young?
He looks younger than most of the people that we've talked about.
Okay, good.
He was born in 1994, but you know what? That's not actually... That's 20. He's 26.
Yeah.
So, you know, how young is that? You know, how much older than him is Taron Egerton? I'm not going to look it up. I don't want to get too bogged down in this segment anyway. So
I get it.
There's one last character that when I saw it, that's Stature. That's Cassie Lang. Well, we already have Cassie Lang. We have young Cassie Lang, who unfortunately we've said goodbye to. I just feel like we're not going to see that actress anymore because she's older now.
Yeah.
So we have Emma Furman, who I loved this picture for those watching on YouTube. I could have gotten like her headshot, but this picture with her, with Paul Rudd and Evangeline Lilly, I'm like, no, this is the one I want. It's her, basically. It's her with the family, you know? And so that I think that I hope that they keep her because now they've built this actress in and... You know, we've talked a little bit about the fact that we talked about Kitty Pryde. They've had 3 different actresses play Kitty Pryde, and the first 2, she didn't have any lines. But let's just have the consistency. I would like to see this Cassie Lang as the character of Stature. So I hope that they're consistent with that. Anyway, let us know your thoughts on any and all of this. This is just some fun, imaginary casting. This is the stuff we do on Marvel Movie News when it's a light news week. But
cast people we'd like to see.
Right.
I do have one for Wiccan.
Go ahead.
Daniel Radcliffe.
Oh, I thought we said him already. I'm so sorry.
Get it?
Yeah. Well,
okay.
you're just trying to get him back into your life,
First of all, I just want to
right?
see him back in my life. Yeah. Second of all, he's Harry. You're a wizard, Harry. Wiccan, come on.
Yeah, I mean, it's sort of a no-brainer.
And he looks super young. Just shave that beard. He looks young as heck. Xeno Hour says Taron Egerton, is it Egerton? Is 29.
Yeah, so that's fine. He's under 30.
He's under 30.
Yeah.
That's cool.
All right, stop giving me grief, everybody. All right, let's move on to something that's not really like a story, but it's an interesting point of conversation. So there was a story that was going around that Keanu Reeves is at the center of a battle between Marvel and DC. And we've talked on this very show about who we would like to see Keanu Reeves play in the MCU. And yeah, there's a lot. Well, some of the characters on the list. Silver Surfer, Adam Warlock, Wolverine, Namor, and Moon Knight. Those are just a few. Those are like that was at the top of the search. And he would kill it as all of them. I don't love him for Wolverine. That's too hard for me.
Yeah, I
think Wolverine needs to be an unknown.
Yeah, no. Agreed.
And any unknown, I'm going to be kind of ready to take on as Wolverine. But it's just, that one doesn't seem to work for me. But everything else, yes. So I think that we want to see him as something in the MCU. But DC reportedly wants to do a sequel to Constantine, and I think that surprises everybody that they want to do a sequel to Constantine.
I like Constantine. I don't care what anyone says.
I'm just saying it wasn't a tremendous success.
I know.
You know?
I liked it.
Sure. Why not? Why not? But, and then, so if he does that, though, then does Marvel not want him? And I say, they're fine. Marvel will be like, we'll take somebody, you know.
Yeah.
I mean, if Henry Cavill wants a role in the MCU, if they think he's right, they're like, it's fine. He's not Superman anymore. Yeah. I know that's not official, but do you see him out there as Superman? So you know, it's like it's fine. You know, they could take all the previous Batmen and put them in the MCU. So we've already got Michael Keaton. So now they can go ahead and get Val Kilmer.
Yep.
They can get George Clooney,
yeah.
Christian Bale, and Ben Affleck.
I would
they
love
get all the previous
to see Christian Bale as something.
He is literally anything.
So fantastic.
If he wanted to play Kitty Pryde, I'd be like, well, it's an unorthodox choice, but I'll respect it. Let me see it.
Absolutely.
I want to see it. Like, let's just see what it is. So So I don't know. I can see Marvel maybe being a little uneasy, but if this Constantine movie happens, he should still have him. What do you think in the chat? Do you think that if he does this, that it should prohibit him from being in Marvel movies? What do you think? What did this chat think?
Well, there's a lot in chat going on right now. I just wanted to quickly... Anthony Manzano says here his casting for Miss America in the MCU is Auli'i Cravalho.
I don't know who that is.
Sounds Hawaiian to me, so I'm down.
Oh, yeah. Because as anyone who can see Zia right now on YouTube knows, Zia is from Hawaii, obviously.
Duh, can you tell?
When you look at her, obviously she's from Hawaii.
And Tony Robinson says Sophia Lillis as Kitty Pryde.
Okay, I know that name, but it's tough to place. So yeah, when you suggest these in the chat, just remind us where they're from.
Yeah, just give us a quick,
that's fine.
just so
but
we know.
I appreciate all the suggestions.
But there's a lot, like Gamer Girl says Keanu Reeves as Korvac.
Okay, yeah. I think that people are excited to have him as a little bit more of a recognizable name. That's I don't know, like an Adam Warlock or Namor would be pretty good because he wouldn't be covered under prosthetics.
Yeah.
You know? He would basically be like, what if John Wick could swim? Let's watch.
That'd be amazing.
Yeah. Then Moon Knight would be like, what if John Wick was crazy? Wait, what if John Wick was crazier?
Let's just make him insane and watch that.
Let's see what happens.
Well, the best thing about that is we've got 2 back-to-back Den of Heroes. Keanu Reeves for Moon Knight. No.
Okay,
and then
fair.
Literally right after that, Langley M. Neely says, only one of those that works is Moon Knight.
Well, that's the beauty. That's why I love doing the show, because you have such a wide range of opinions. So you can keep those coming. We'll kind of circle back to that at the end of the show. If you see any good ones, please let us know.
Yeah.
Another quick one is that there's this story we didn't get to last week. There's this rumor that the Inhumans could eventually get rebooted as part of the MCU, like in a film, but obviously not their own film. And again, there must be something wrong with me, because I like these shows that people don't like. I like the Inhumans TV show. I knew it wasn't perfect. In fact, it wasn't great. But there were things that I liked about it. There were some interesting moments in the show, and I love Lockjaw the teleporting dog, as everyone knows who's seen me talk about it on the show. Mm-hmm. But I think that there's a wealth to those characters that I wouldn't be surprised if they brought them back. And the thinking was that bringing Kamala Khan in as Ms. Marvel, you could sort of backdoor introduce the concept of Inhumans by having her be an Inhuman. And then the other idea, which we talked about on this show, was, well, what if you introduce mutants by having her be a mutant? So you kind of do it either way. You know, Zia, I know that you did not watch The Inhumans.
No, I did not.
But
because I knew it was terrible.
That's what you heard, but you didn't ask me. You asked everybody except me.
True, but I heard
you probably
enough.
Trust everybody else better than me.
Of course I do.
Yeah,
and I
right.
also saw the previews for it, and I was like, you know what? Gonna pass.
I paid to see it in IMAX.
That's amazing.
The first 2 episodes they showed in IMAX.
Wow. Something special.
I probably could have asked for my money back, but I liked it. That was a problem. So what do you think about the idea of, just getting these characters and not having them go to waste just because maybe they did a TV show that didn't work out?
Oh, I think that that's perfectly fine to bring them into the MCU. I don't think that's a bad thing at all. I think that then the MCU could take those characters and actually make a good version of it.
Yeah.
And I think that then you could have fun with casting. There's a place for them in the MCU. I don't think it's a bad idea at all. I don't see why. It's not like they're going to get the same actors and do the exact same show.
But what if they did?
What if they did? Oh, good Lord.
Well, Anson Mount has already crushed it as Captain Pike on Star Trek Discovery, so I don't know if he's ever going to look back towards the MCU, but he's a great actor, so maybe he will.
He's a good actor.
So let us know what you think in the chat. I know that some of you in the chat definitely don't want to see the Inhumans. Maybe they need to be put in timeout for a decade or something. I get it if you feel that way. All right. So that is kind of the news part of this Marvel movie news. I wanted to get to a fun topic. We have one last thing for TV time, but we do have a fun topic here. And this is our Desert Island MCU movie. And I thought about this. It's probably more appropriate to call this a Sophie's Choice, because when you call it Desert Island, usually you get to do a list of if you were trapped on a desert island and you could bring only 5 movies or 5 books or 5 albums, what would they be? Well, I said, what if you were trapped on a desert island and you could bring one, count them, one MCU movie, and you could watch as many times as you want for the rest of your life. But it's the only movie you have, no bonus features, and to our absent this week friend, Zach Wilson, no, Infinity War and Endgame are not one movie. That is almost 6 hours of movie. It does not count as one. So so you can only get one movie. And I decided that end credit scenes do count because it's part of the movie.
Part of the movie.
So you at least get that.
Yeah.
And since Zach isn't here, I'll give his first. His was Avengers, the first Avengers. And I'm like, you know what? You can't fault that choice. That's got everybody working together. It's a great story. It's so fun to watch them together. And it has what might be my favorite end credit scene, where they're just eating the shawarma finally. I do kind of love that, you know.
That's something nice.
Yeah, so that was his choice. And we got great feedback on this in Twitter, from Twitter. So we'll get to that in a moment. But if you're just watching live now in the chat or you're watching the archive version, tell us what is your one, and it's only one. It can't be a three-way tie. It can only be one movie that you would watch forever. Zia, what is yours?
Mine's Civil War.
Oh, God, doggone it.
Is that
because that's mine.
That
but you go ahead and
yours?
explain why it's yours.
Because it's just so good.
Yeah.
It has everything. It's great. I know what's your
well,
reason.
Well, you know what my reason is.
Yeah, so I'm going to let you go ahead and say that. But
we'll just talk about it together.
Go ahead.
So my reason is all the things that you're about to say.
Yes.
But it also has Spider-Man in it. So it's like, it's an Avengers movie that's not an Avengers movie. Honestly, that should have been Avengers 2. Age of Ultron, I don't hate it like some people did. But Civil War is so much better. That should have just been our second Avengers movie. Just jump right to it.
No.
But it had Spider-Man too. And it also had Black Panther. So it's like, it's got everything.
It's got everything.
So, but for your point of view, why did you choose it?
Because it's just so good. It's my favorite one. It was just so well done. It's always been my favorite Marvel movie. So why would I pick something that's not my favorite? There are plenty of other ones that I love. That's also Gamer Girl's choice. She says that we think alike because we do.
Did you think of choosing your favorite Thor: Dark World?
I did. That was like, no, I'm just kidding.
Well, I thought for a second of picking it because it's like, oh, I don't like it now, so I'll just have to watch it so many times that I'll have to like it because it's the only entertainment I'll have.
Because it's the only thing you've got. No, I just... Thor: Dark World's the one where I'm not like, oh my god, this movie's amazing, and I want to watch it a whole bunch.
You just happened to like it.
I just liked it. People crapped all over it, and I thought it was fine. I enjoyed it. I went in, I left. I liked it better than Captain Marvel, and I know people are going to get mad at me for that, but sorry. There's a lot of good choices in here.
In the chat.
I'm putting the tweets up real quick
so
while you guys are talking.
Tweets right now. And actually, Ryan, if you could zoom into them, it'll help a little bit.
Yeah, you got it.
That way everybody watching on YouTube can see. So we got such great feedback on this, and thanks again to Colpido for getting that out there.
A lot of Civil Wars.
A lot of Civil War. I think that
great.
It's so good. Like, just you think about the story between Tony and Steve, like just that conflict between these guys who it's like, oh, but if you work together, just think about what you'll be able to accomplish. Just the stakes of that movie, everything across the board.
And the villain. The villain is
yes.
incredible in this movie.
No, it's true. I mean, and the airport sequence alone, if you told me I could only watch the airport sequence, I'd be like, well, that's not fair, but okay.
Fine, sure.
I'll just watch it. Yeah.
That's like number one. I think that's number one of my favorite fight scenes.
Yeah, I mean it's true. Yeah. Oh, that's a future topic, by the way. Favorite fight scene. We can pick more than one of that one.
We'll pick a few. We can pick the top five.
What are some other ones in the chat that you're seeing? We'll go through Twitter in a moment.
There's been some really good ones. Obviously, Gamer Girl says that she wants Civil War as well. Yeah. Ivan Soto says Guardians of the Galaxy 1.
Sure. It's so fun. I get that.
Yeah.
Take your mind off of the fact that you're stuck on this island.
Exactly.
Why not watch a fun movie?
Exactly.
And look, and it's like you don't have to do like a list of like I was gonna say CDs because I'm old, but like you have all that music with you too if you have Guardians.
Yeah.
So it's like it's kind of like a 2-in-1. I get that.
That's actually a good choice. Yeah.
Yeah.
Langley M. Neely says Avengers 1. Big J21 says Logan. That's a good one.
Okay, I mean, that's technically not an MCU movie, but I'm going to allow it because it's such a good movie.
It's such a good movie.
Yeah, it's true.
Yeah,
look, if anybody... Look, and, you're the one on the island with it. If you want to bring X-Men 2 or you want to bring the Sam Raimi Spider-Man, go ahead. Bring it.
You do it.
It's fine. But I just feel like, picking one of these MCU would be the way to go. Now, some of the ones that we got to see on Twitter,
yes.
I'm going to go to the top of the thread because some of these are really funny. So Mark Davison, who's on Twitter at theauthor18, he said, whichever one gives ScarJo's butt the most screen time, which is a shame because it's probably Winter Soldier. But then right below that, Chris Logal says Winter Soldier. Winter Soldier is a lot of people's favorite.
It's a great one.
I
also.
love Winter Soldier.
Yes. Civil War, Winter Soldier.
It's my third favorite Captain America movie because Captain America: First Avenger overall is my first favorite movie.
It's a good choice.
But I'm not bringing it on the island because it's just got Cap in it. I know it's got Bucky too, and it's got Tommy Lee Jones. But still, I'm gonna bring Civil War. Let's see, and then we have one. Dan Dupree said Guardians of the Galaxy because I would need a lot of laughter to stay sane on the island. Easy for me to say.
What's got you
so
laughing?
That was one. Yeah. So I want to make sure I've got these tweets from the right place. Jack Kidd also says the first Avengers, just like Zach did. Daniel Drew, Ragnarok. He says Ragnarok or Homecoming. I'm only going to take your first one. Ragnarok. Yeah, because it's fun. There's so many good laughs.
Yeah.
And
Also great music.
Get some Led Zeppelin.
Yep.
You get the same Led Zeppelin song a couple times. That's great. Ashley Houchins, another one for Ragnarok. And Tone 3000, Big Tone 3000 kind of breaks it down. As much as I love Endgame and Infinity War, if I could watch one on repeat, it would have to be Civil War. Yeah. Look, I don't know. In some ways, Endgame and Infinity War are better. In some ways. But rewatchability, it stuck for the rest of my life watching it. I definitely want Civil War over one of those, for sure.
Yep, I agree.
And so many Civil Wars, so many Winter Soldiers, a lot of Ragnaroks. I'm just trying to find any sort of different ones. We've heard a couple of Guardians of the Galaxy. What do you have in the chat, Zia?
One here, it's really funny, actually. I love it. Charles Lee says, my choice is the first Iron Man since it would inspire me to build something to leave the island.
That's a great idea.
Right?
Yeah, don't bring the complete first season of Gilligan's Island because otherwise you'll try and build stuff and then some idiot's going to make it so you never leave. Michael Davis on Twitter, he says First Avenger because he's a sucker for a good love story. And one of my favorite roles for Tommy Lee Jones. Tommy Lee Jones is great. See, I just referenced him. And then I've got one for the first Iron Man from Paulo Romero. Okay. So we're getting to see some of these. Yeah. And then there's something. Yeah. So Casey Jacks makes the point. Even though Endgame is pretty long, there's nothing I love more than seeing all my favorite characters in one epic fight scene that changed my life. I would definitely have that on repeat. I just emotionally wouldn't be able to handle Endgame because I'm stuck on this island already.
Yeah.
So I don't think that I'm able to, I need to have a little bit more fun than that. So those are some of the great answers, but here's the thing, we can continue this conversation.
Yes, there's so many good answers in the chat that I don't have time to get to.
Yeah, and so if we see any in weeks ahead, we'll just kind of jump in. I have one final item for Marvel TV Time, and that was the announcement that Disney Plus is going to have an extensive archive of animated Marvel products, including X-Men the Animated Series from 1992.
Yes!
That's kind of all they need.
Yes!
But they also have 90s Spider-Man.
Also amazing.
Which is also a great show.
So great.
And they also have 90s Silver Surfer, which I actually didn't watch.
Watch that either.
So I'm like, I want to see that for the first time.
Heck yes.
And the 90s Fantastic Four. They also have 1981 Spider-Man. And for me, my personal favorite, Spider-Man and His Amazing Friends, which I'll have you know, just watched my first episode with my 4-year-old son Felix, and I think he's going to be all right. I think he might be a Spidey fan now. It had the Beetle in it. And Iceman, Omega Level Mutant Iceman was in that. So when that comes, you're going to get all of these shows. And I don't think they have the rights to everything. Like we've talked about how there was an MTV Spider-Man series. I don't think they have that. I don't think they have the classic 60s Spider-Man. But give them time. They'll figure out a way to get all.
They'll get everything. Yeah, don't worry about it.
They're like, do we have to buy MTV? Fine, we'll buy MTV.
Yeah.
But so anyway, that's exciting news for everybody who is going to have Disney Plus. Like me, who pre-purchased it for 3 years. And look, it's like getting a year free. I had to do it. I don't have any money, but I can at least be forward-thinking for the future. Anyway, this was a fun conversation, and we hope that everybody enjoyed sharing their Desert Island MCU movies. Zia, where can people find you?
You can find me on the Twitter and the Instagram at Zia_Land. It's XIA_Land. Also Facebook at Zia Landerson. I have another show where I get to talk about nerdy stuff and life stuff. If you want like Zia unfiltered a little bit more, besides the Blackcast, you can check me out on It's Eric Nagel. That's on Spotify, iTunes, iHeartRadio, anywhere you find that sort of stuff.
And you promote that all the time, but Eric Nagel was the producer of Opie and Anthony.
Yes, he
was. So
was.
a lot of people do know who he is.
Yes.
They just forget that his nickname was E-Rock.
Was E-Rock.
And Speaking of Blackcast, Zia was my special guest this week on an all-new Blackcast, which you can find at blackcast.com, BLADTCAST.com. You can find both of us back here next week because Zach will still be on assignment, but we'll be back next Thursday at 1 Pacific for another very fun Marvel movie news. But until then, as the great Stan Lee would say, Excelsior!
From producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, and the entire Popcorn Talk Network, we would like to thank you for tuning in. For questions or comments, be sure to visit popcorntalk.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of the Popcorn Talk Network.
The views expressed herein are those of the host only, do not necessarily reflect the views